Yeah. I feel like I might need to yell.
I know, right? All right, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Berkenda. I'm with the Orange Chamber of Commerce. You are at the March installment of Eggs and Issues. Welcome. I know you guys can choose to do anything. We know that you have lots to do. You have family, you have work, and we appreciate you spending the morning with us. One quick question before we get started. Speaking of community, who attended the art walk this weekend? Anybody? Okay, how'd you guys like it?
Loved it.
I thought it was so much fun. So for those of you guys who came out, everybody who participated, thank you so much. That was sponsored by two of our very own, John Oust, and also the Potting Shed. So Jack and John, thank you so much. We so appreciate you guys. I know it was a lot of work. Also, Connie and Elizabeth, another round of applause for them because that was a juried show. Okay, well with that, quick reminder, this is an open format. So our guest, I don't know if you know who this is, but if you don't know who it is, I'm going to tell you right now. He is here for you. So if I'm asking questions, something comes to your mind, raise your hand. Love to get everybody involved in the dialogue today, for sure. And with that, the man who probably doesn't need an introduction, I'm going to do it anyway. Chief Dan Adams, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, sure.
I normally read everyone's bio. I'm not going to today because it is a lengthy bio. He has done a lot of things. He is our 35th chief here in Orange. He's been with us since 1989. Quick question. I know that I saw some new things on your bio. Would you mind just telling everybody about some of the new accomplishments you've had even over this past year and a half?
Yeah, sure. Can everybody hear me or do I need to yell? I'm concerned. Yell louder? Okay, I'm concerned about the Facebook folks. I'm going to yell. I'll move this down. Okay, so I can talk loud, I can yell, whatever. Just let me know back there if you can't hear me. Yeah, super excited to be here. Thanks for having me again. I'm almost 2 years as the chief, and I jumped right in, became chief, got orientated to how to be a chief real quick, and then immediately jumped into boards and commissions. So one of the things I wanted to do was use my platform as chief to have a voice for the community and for other chiefs. And I got on the California Police Chiefs Board of Directors. I'm on the Law and Legislative Committee. I'm the vice president now of the Orange County Chiefs and Sheriff Association. So I'm not only doing chiefing in Orange, but I'm trying to do chiefing outside and in Sacramento. And if I get on a rant, you'll hear me talk a little bit about legislation that's not favorable for safe communities or for police departments. So hopefully somebody should probably get the hook and tell me to stop, because I do have a tendency to jump into that kind of stuff about legislation. So that's a little bit new since we talked last time officially. I think we were here, right?
We were here.
So that's new for me in the last year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Congratulations on those.
Yeah, thank you.
That's very cool. I know you're with us. You were our very first guest, I guess, post-pandemic or things opening up, August 2021. You were about 35 or so days in, not because I rewatched the segment, but 35 days in. So now we have you at about a year and a half. Welcome again. I know you have a lot of things to do, a lot of places that you can be, and we appreciate your being here with us as well.
Absolutely.
Well, to get right into it, I thought I would start with kind of where we are. So we are seated at OC. We're in the middle of the plaza, downtown area, and anyone who is around notices that the plaza is under a bit of construction, shall we say. So if we can chat about, I guess, what happened to our plaza. I know we were looking at, as a city, was it called Plaza Park Safety Enhancement?
Yeah. That
was just getting ready to start, kind of making that a little bit safer to walk through, make it so that perhaps cars couldn't drive through it. And just on the cusp of that, there was an incident. So if you could tell us about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so unfortunately we had another person drive through Plaza Park recently. It was a person, I think from out of county, who had stolen a car just a few streets over. And as soon as the officers got there, he saw the officers and assumed there would be a police chase. He took off, I guess it would be east from just of Lemon right over there, and did not know that there was a traffic circle here. And that was I'm sure everybody saw the video. It was very, it was pretty intense. Like the fact that he didn't get hurt was, or get badly hurt, was pretty incredible. That was in my 33 years here and my 53 years. Actually, I don't know if this, sometimes I get on a tangent too. I don't know if this was Buster Brown's. Does anybody know the history?
Al might know.
Oh, Al. Yeah, I used to get my shoes shined at Buster Brown's when I was like this big. My dad's right here. My dad came today. Anyway, yeah, so that was the first time I'd ever seen anybody actually go through the fountain. Because usually it gets stopped either by a tree or a bench or a trash can. So unfortunately, that sped up, I guess, the Plaza Park restoration project, which now the Plaza Park's closed, and hopefully when it's done, it'll look greater than it did before, and hopefully the safety bollards around will be up, and nobody will be able to drive into it again. Yeah, disappointing. But one thing on the Plaza crashes, I will say, actually in 2022, we only had one more than we did in 2021, and it's actually a relatively, I'll say, high number, which is kind of troubling, but it is. The average amount of crashes into Plaza Park every year is 6. So I think this year has been, because there's more chatter on social media, I think people see more, hear more, read more about it, so they believe that there's a lot more when there's actually, it's actually kind of probably, for the amount of cars that go through the plaza, through the actual streets, it's probably a very low percentage. So, but we'd obviously like to see none, 100%. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing about that. And the other thing I know I've seen a lot of chatter on social is about the street takeovers. And since we're talking about safety and traffic, maybe address like how Orange is helping to assist with that.
Yeah, we're helping to assist with that by towing as many cars as we can, arresting as many people as we can, and citing as many people as we can. So I don't know if anybody saw my quote on social media or wherever it was last week. I was very serious. I can't stand people that do this. Phil McMullen, our PIO, excuse me, put a post together after the last event, which was way out at Chapman and Newport or somewhere out there. And I said, hey, I want to be quoted in this one. I want people to hear from me. So, and I said, as long as people continue this ridiculous behavior, we're going to continue to tow your cars. We're going to cite you. And if we can, we're going to arrest you. That same night, Tustin had one, and they did the exact same thing we did. So we're not going to slow down. We're not going to put up with it. And there's actually a law in place. We just don't have enough police officers out there. There's a law in place that when these street takeovers, if you've seen them, when they occur, if you get out of your car and watch it, you can be arrested for watching it. So I will give one positive for legislators who got that right a few years ago, but
it's dangerous to watch.
It's dangerous to watch. People have been killed watching. People have been killed doing it. So we have seen an increase in Orange County. For a while, there was a task force with multiple agencies in Orange County doing it, going out and looking for these activities. Fortunately, there are people who will call and tell us that they're coming. Like people who find out that it's going on social media will call our department and give us a heads up. And what we do is we flood the area. So if we have 10 officers available and we hear of this happening, we'll send all 10 officers. Problem is, it's a little bit of a drain on our resources. It takes away from other things, but it is a behavior we want to stop because we don't want people to get hurt or killed. So, yeah, can't stand it.
Yeah.
Quote me on that one.
We
I
will.
just did. It's forever memorialized on Facebook.
Well, with that being said, let's talk about the last year and a half. So we saw you about a year and a half ago. What has that looked like for you?
I think it's been great. Our department's grown. We've hired a lot of sworn staff, a lot of civilian staff. I think we hired, I'd say in the last 2 years, we're almost to 50 police officers because we have a lot of retirements. We have a lot of people leave for various reasons. We've had quite a few people leave the state. So we've hired a lot of police officers. We've hired a lot of non-sworn staff. Our department's under a little bit of construction right now, so we've been in that building for over 30 years. But as far as, internally, we're doing really good. The police department's strong. We have a bunch of great men and women that work there, a lot of young cops, a lot of young staff. For the first time, our dispatch center is almost fully staffed, which a lot of departments can't say that. And a lot of departments are offering hefty bonuses to try to attract other dispatchers. So I'm super proud of that. We have a happy crew up there that are answering your phone calls, dispatching police officers. I'll talk a little bit about, actually tonight at the council meeting, I'm giving the annual kind of state of the police department. So I'll talk a little bit more in depth about our staffing. I also spoke to them in January about staffing, but internally that's good. Externally, we did have a little bit of an increase in crime this year, mostly property crimes. We had no murders last year, which was awesome. Thank you for knocking on the table. Which is awesome because we had 6 the year before. Obviously, one of them was 4 people in one incident, which was awful. But any murder is awful, so we were super excited that we didn't have any last year. But as far as the community, safety, public safety, law enforcement, all that, I feel like it's going very well. I feel like the city of Orange is a safe city. We have so much support from you guys and from everywhere I go. I can't be more proud of the department and the fact that they do such a good job that we have so much support from the community. Because I know a lot of other police chiefs, and I know some don't have the support that we do in the city of Orange. So I feel honored and privileged to be the chief.
Thank you. Now, as far as staffing, I was looking through some numbers, and I saw that we have the Explorer program. That's one of our volunteer programs. It are the Explorers. Over the pandemic, I'm sure you probably saw a decline in that. Has that, I guess, picked back up to pre-pandemic numbers? Or what does that look like for people, like the younger ones coming in?
Yeah, Explorers, a little bit. Not as much as we'd like to. We actually did some recruiting for Explorers, which are basically kids 16 to 20, that could just volunteer and get involved, get inside the doors of the police department. And if they want to start on that career path, they can do that through exploring. It used to be connected to the Boy Scouts, which it's not anymore, so it's been a little bit of a struggle on the funding on that end of it.
Right.
But we did some recruiting at high schools trying to get more people, and I know we're going to do that again. So our Explorers, we have some Explorers. We have really good Explorers. They actually go all over the county and help at events, not just our events.
Nice.
So it's a cool thing. I'd love for it to get bigger, but
yeah, if you ever need any Connie's here in the back. If you guys ever need any cross promotion, like definitely send us over any flyers or have Sergeant McMullen get in touch.
Yeah,
we'll repost those for you.
Yeah, sure.
Other volunteer programs, I know that CERT is, I guess, going on right now.
Yeah.
So if you can kind of does anyone here not know what CERT is? Okay, everyone knows what CERT is then. So it's ending. When is the next one?
So CERT's 5 weeks. The next one will start after our next Citizens Academy, which I'm not exactly sure. Keep up on the, do you know when?
Yes,
April?
5th.
When?
April 5th is the Citizens Academy.
Yeah, so
CERT, the other one.
So it'll start right after that. Just if you look on our website, or I can get you more info. I don't know the exact date on that because we usually do Citizens Academy and then CERT right after that. Citizens Academy is a little bit longer.
Okay.
You want me to talk about that?
Yes,
If how many people have done the Citizens Academy?
I'm gonna do it.
You're in it. All right. If you haven't done the Citizens Academy, I highly encourage you to find a spot. This will be our biggest class ever. I think we have 30-something. So I have a feeling we've been doing a lot of promoting. I've been promoting it. Every time we have a Citizens Academy class, I tell everybody, I wish every person who lives, works, or plays in the city of Orange could attend, because when everybody comes in, Brendan did it, when everybody comes in and sits there, it's like the first day of school, right? And then by week 8, I can't get everybody to stop talking to start because everybody's had such an enjoyable time. They've gotten to know each other. They've learned the ins and outs of the police department, and and everybody gets to go on a ride along. This next session, we're bumping it up even another level. What I'm trying to do is take as much out of the classroom, so I'm trying to get people outside more. Obviously, I can't compete with Sheriff Barnes, who has helicopters and shooting ranges and all kinds of cool stuff. So you can do his too if you want, but we're trying to get people outside, not sitting looking at a PowerPoint. I want it to be more action oriented. So this next session, we'll start it. We do 2 a year. I'd love to do 3 a year, but my executive group tells me that would cost too much and keep people out of their regular duties too much. So we're going to do 2 a year. But yeah, if you haven't done it and you want to, get on our website, get on the list for the next one, and I guarantee you will walk out of there after, I think it's 8 weeks. You'll walk out of there after 8 weeks with a completely different perspective of what police officers do more than what you see them do, and some of the stuff they go through, not only to be a police officer, but just in their daily lives. And when you go on ride-alongs as part of the program, sometimes people get to see it. Man, there's some people that aren't very nice out there, and they get to see it firsthand, kind of what our police officers have to endure. So, great program. Sales pitch.
Thank you. Before I go on, any more questions from myself, does anyone have any questions for the chief? Any questions come to mind? Yes.
As a mom of 2 small babies, I want to know, especially after yesterday, I know it's kind of a hot topic, but just after the shooting yesterday, what goes on in the city of ours as far as protecting our schools? And if we ever had any threats to schools or any sort of like targets for school shootings or something like that in the city of Orange?
So if you didn't hear the question back there, it was related to school shootings in light of yesterday's incident in Nashville. And as far as our preparation, so we have one school resource officer that's responsible for high schools, middle schools. We also have our GRIP program, which is our gang reduction intervention partnership. So that's a different program, but it does put police officers in schools more and staff at schools more. While I wish we could be at every school all the time, our officers are very highly trained. In any type of an incident like that, they're trained to not even wait for backup. We expect every officer, if a situation like happened in Nashville yesterday, the first officer there runs towards the gunfire. Our job is to stop it. So we train, I'd say, at least 5 times a year. We do an actual practical application at least once a year where we can't send everybody, but we send some officers to large-scale training scenarios that involve actors and all kinds of things. We collaborate with the fire department, so we have a very, very solid working relationship with the fire department, whereas if a mass incident occurs or if something horrible occurs, we know what each other is going to do. We know what each other's roles are. We know we know what the fire department's going to do. They know what we're going to do. But our biggest thing on that is training and then being equipped with the right tools. I'm not going to talk about legislation, but okay, maybe I will. No, I'm just kidding. There has been some laws to take away some of our tools. Not laws, I'm sorry, authored bills that haven't been passed, trying to take away some of our tools. I don't know if you guys heard about the military equipment bill that was passed last year. Now we have to get permission by the city council to buy certain tools. Kind of handcuffs us in how we're the professionals, right? So it's kind of handcuffs us a little bit on what we purchase, how we purchase it, when we purchase it, and we need all those tools for events just like this. I don't know if everybody saw some of the video yesterday or last night, but it's just absolutely heart-wrenching. Everybody needs to say a prayer for those families. Not only the families of those people who were killed, but there's so many people that are affected by that now for their entire life. Those incidents are horrible, and our job is to get in there and stop it as soon as possible, and we will. I guarantee you, we will do that. So.
Do you know of any threats like that ever in the city of Orange in your experience? Have you heard of anything like that?
We've had some threats, but they've been fake threats. So we work with a fusion center. It's called the Orange County Intelligence Assessment Center, and we all work together whenever there's threats anywhere. We all hear about it. Well, over the last probably 10 years, we've definitely had our share, and we respond heavy to schools, and everybody's like, what's going on? And then we find out it was just fake. Or a lot of times after these incidents, we'll get more calls because more people they're on a heightened level of alert. So more people will be concerned. They'll see something that looks like a gun, or they'll say, hey, somebody told me they're going to bring a gun to school tomorrow. Unfortunately, some of these, I would say, are very hard to predict. Sometimes people will tell people what they're going to do. I don't know why. Like yesterday, I don't know the backstory on that, so I don't know if I know she left like what they call it, a manifesto or something behind, kind of outlining what she was planning to do. But I don't know if anybody, obviously nobody knew that. So, and then our goal too on that is to make sure that schools are safe. So we will go to schools. Anytime a school wants to contact us and have us come out and do an assessment. I know we've done assessments at hospitals, we've done assessments at schools, we've done assessments at other businesses. I don't know if you remember. Tell me to stop whenever. Right here on Gliselle at Doug Willett's realty place, just south of there was a guy that came out and started shooting a rifle into the air. This was a little over a year ago. Mm-hmm. And so our SWAT team came out. We ended up capturing the guy. Fortunately, nobody got hurt. But that next week, Doug Willits asked us to come and do an assessment and for his staff, for his office. So we'll go to any business. We'll go to any school. We want everybody to be prepared as possible. We'll talk about what doors are good to have open, unlocked, locked, never accessible. Like our professionals will tell people what they can do to make themselves, their students, their employees more safer.
I also think I did see something on the city agenda in regards to funding for providing you with military equipment. Is that something that's on the agenda for tonight?
Yeah, on the agenda tonight at the council is more rifles for our officers, more bulletproof vests for our officers. So hopefully there won't be any questions
I saw one more question.
on that.
Pat.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, I'm sure you work closely with Orange Unified School District. Do you also work with the private schools that are located in the city?
Yeah, we sure do, and we will. We'll work with like I said, we'll work with anybody. We don't have a school resource officers assigned, but like say for Orange Lutheran, we'll still make that part of our. Even though that's not a public school, obviously it's in Orange. We want to be involved in whatever they want us to be involved, or safety, or preparation. I think we've been up there and done training up there.
Did I see a question on this side of the room? I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Okay. Next question for you is, I know we talked about, or one of the things you mentioned previously as you were getting started was that, a lot of your goals were just in manageability, being able to manage, better manage homelessness in the city, or manage how crime is going in the city. Let's talk a little bit about the homelessness and the HEART teams. It seems like from the numbers that are going to be shown tonight that they're doing great things. If you could speak to that a little bit. Yeah,
our HEART team, if you didn't hear did you guys hear the question? No? So talked about homeless and our HEART team. Our HEART team is making a difference every day. I say they make a difference 100% every day. I'll talk about it tonight a little bit at the council meeting, but we sheltered 120 people last year. I know the folks from Home Aid are here today. I actually mentioned I'm going to have a story tonight about a family that was sheltered at the Home Aid. You guys are over there. And we are doing what we can to help. Everybody needs to remember that homelessness is not illegal. It's a societal problem. It's a challenge. Our goal is to get everybody shelter. And when we come into play, it's because a lot of people don't want shelter. They don't want the resources that we're offering here in the city of Orange and in Orange County. Totally. Everybody wants to help the homeless, but the homeless have to want to help themselves. Some we have problems. Some have mental illness. Some commit crime. So we're going to be out there for the long haul. We've just in the last year we've hired 2 civilian homeless outreach specialists. So I'm actually going to introduce them tonight. They have been working, but I'm going to introduce them tonight. So that's going to take away some of the calls that police officers are going to, so that they can go and handle these. And they have backgrounds in social work, and they can help provide even more resources or do things that a lot of police officers don't. I tell people all the time, a quick story. I went to a police academy graduation last week. We have 4 great new police officers. They're in their early 20s, and in 6 months, they'll be out here by themselves in a police car, and all of a sudden they will be an expert in everything. And a lot of people don't realize it. All these cops are young, and they learn as they go, and they're not an expert in everything. They learn, and we send them to schools, we send them to advanced training, we send them to everything to get them prepared, but a lot of times they don't come with the specific training that's needed for some of the problems. It's like sometimes I'll say we send 25-year-old cops to domestic violence incidents where people have been married for 30 years. They've been married longer than these cops have been alive. And we're asking the cops to go solve this problem, right? So homelessness, we've asked our cops to do a lot, and I have to remember that it's not illegal to be homeless. We're trying to help people. We're trying to provide resources. And the only way to really end homelessness is permanent sheltering, and I don't know, that's a tall task to ask, so. But I know everybody's trying.
Yeah, that's all you can do is try.
We're
and
trying,
do your
yeah.
best. Do your best.
Yeah.
Let's talk about succession planning. So something you mentioned that was probably now I find quite alarming in your first go round with us is you said that, so we talked about Chief Casella, who is now our city manager, and you mentioned the two of you chatting and how it came to be that you are the chief, and you said, perhaps you'll be here for a few years while you guys do some succession planning. Well, you're a year and a half into a few years.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen in a few more years, or a couple of years?
Yeah, so we have three, my executive staff is 3 captains, and then we have another captain who's going to be staying for a while, and our third captain too. Who knows how long he'll stay? So I have a good
Consolation.
I have a good plan for succession planning whenever I decide to retire. Like I said, I've been here for 33 years, which is probably longer than most people do in law enforcement, and I'll stick around till somebody's ready, because I want the police department to, obviously the police department's going to continue whether I'm here or not, but I want this. Succession planning isn't just planning, it's just succession. I want the police department to continue to grow. I want it to continue to be successful. I want people to continue to develop. And one thing when you become a chief is you want people to carry on what you've started. So when I start these new programs, I want to make sure that they're sustainable for the future, and that the people who follow me will want to carry them on as well. So that's kind of my goal in my next, if I stay for another year or year and a half, people will say, how about 5? I don't know, I doubt it. I don't think I'll stay for 5, but I just want to make sure that what we're doing at the police department, what we're planning, and what we're putting into place is effective, sustainable, and is going to, our ultimate goal is to reduce crime all the time. So we have to focus on that too.
Thank you. I was looking at Leslie out here in the audience. So if anyone doesn't know, Leslie, the chief's wife is here today. Your dad, John, is here today, and your friend Dale. You guys, thank you guys so much for coming. But I was watching her eyes as you were talking about the years. Like, how many years does he really have, Leslie? Just kidding. No, we appreciate you guys for coming. But yeah, thank you for that, and we appreciate your service. That's a long time. 33 years is a very long time, so thank you so much. Any other questions? I do have some more, but I want to make sure that Kim Lee has a question.
I know street takeover is illegal, but what about gigantic parking lot takeovers? That's the same thing?
So we do have some, so the question was, we talked about street takeovers. Can we do the same thing in parking lots? There is some laws that were created that allow us to do some enforcement in parking lots. Obviously, we would need the cooperation of whatever that business owner is, before we go in and try to make everybody leave or do whatever. Usually a strong police presence sometimes will persuade those people to go somewhere else. So I know we've had that issue at Smart and Final, a couple other parking lots, but we haven't had them as much, and I think it's because we flood the area very quickly with a lot of police cars. Everybody has their lights on, and it kind of ruins the vibe for whatever they're doing, so we hope they jump on the freeway and go somewhere else.
Nice. Angie has a question.
What's the average number of police officers we have on the street at one time? Like usually.
So the question was, what's the average amount of police officers that are out on the street at one time? And the question is, it depends. Depends on the day of the week, the time of the week. Our deployment is structured also off of crime. So if we're having more crime on a Friday or a Saturday, we might have more officers out at that night or at that time. I would say usually during the day, you could have anywhere from 10 to 15 out on the street. And then at night, you could have up to 20, 25, depending on if there's, because we have undercover units, we have gang unit, we have traffic. We have a lot of different units that are out there, but in actual police cars, I would say your average would be between 9 and maybe 18, depending on the day or the time.
What's our average response time? If somebody calls in, like what's our response time?
So what's our average response time? Our average response time to an emergency is 4 minutes, which is really good. We usually are responding to the call while the call's still being taken by our dispatch personnel. A lot of times, if there's a call that our dispatch personnel takes and feels is very important, they'll put in a couple like keywords and send it to the dispatcher, so that the dispatcher knows start officers going that direction, and then they'll keep getting more information. Obviously, we want the police officers to have as much information as possible before they get there. But we do want to be responding right away, so we will usually, especially in emergencies. So I would say the 4 minutes is for emergencies. Depending on the priority level of the call, it could go anywhere from 4 minutes to, unfortunately, like an hour, or depending on how busy we are. And that kind of segues me into another thing that I'm excited about is drones. So we have a pretty big drone program in the city of Orange. You may not know it. Because we use our drones specifically targeted and I'll say a little responsive. We're not, there's some cities right now that are very proactive with drones. There's programs called Drones as First Responders. So Chula Vista PD, Chief Roxana Kennedy is a friend of mine. She's actually going to testify to, I think, the U.S. Senate tomorrow. About drones, because we get critiqued for drones and Big Brother and things like that. But they actually have drones on rooftops like that land, and then when there's a call, they send the drone first. So if the dispatcher's on the phone and the person operating the drones are in the same building, so they're in the same room, so they're listening to the 911 call, and somebody's saying, hey, there's an emergency here. There's already a drone flying to the location. Might even get there before the suspect leaves or whatever incident it is ends. So I don't know if we'll ever be able to do that here, but we do have some big drones that are not big, big, that have the technology of infrared, and I see drones as the future. Nothing against police helicopters; they're very valuable. And they work very well, but they're also really, really expensive. We are able to use Anaheim's police helicopter, and then some other, the sheriffs and some other police departments have helicopters, but I see drones as helping our response time in the future and helping our officers be safer. Not only the officers being safer, because we'll be able to see what's going on a TV first, but provide a safer environment for the officer to go into. Like, yeah.
Right.
So you use it for like the street fair and big events like that, and big parades, you'll have drones out?
Yeah, so we had drones last year at the street fair. They can go really high. So we also had what's called a tethered drone on the roof right here, and it goes up 100 feet and it can stay there all day.
Oh, wow.
Because you don't have to bring it down for battery power because it's connected to a power source. And then we actually have cameras in the plaza for the street fair too, so we can pretty much see everything that's going on during the street fair for sure.
Well, we have our May Parade, as Angie mentioned. The May Parade's coming up on May 6th, so make sure you have us covered for that too.
I'm sure we'll have it. I'm sure we'll
know
have
you
it well
will.
protected.
I think I saw one more question. We have time for one more in the back.
We really haven't. So the question was about basically keeping people in jail that deserve to be in jail, maybe. Unfortunately, we really haven't. There's some amendments that are trying to be passed through on, I think it's Prop 47, which is the one that let a lot of people out of jail years ago. We still deal with it quite a bit. What we do is, when people deserve to go to jail, we do whatever we can to get them into the jail, and then so that they're held, and then we work with the DA's office to make sure that appropriate charges are filed and people are held to answer for crimes they commit. But there is still a lot of people who should probably be in jail that get out of jail, and then those are the people we see commit a lot of crimes. I'd say a lot of people that commit crimes are definitely repeat offenders. It's not their first time. Very few times do our officers encounter people who are doing something for the first time, and a lot of people have been in jail before. And I'll segue that into a little bit of homelessness with homeless folks who commit crimes. They are very well aware of the legal system and what is going to get them held in court or held in jail and what is not. And so that's why sometimes you get people who just don't care, because if we do take them to jail, they'll get a couple meals and then they're right back. And they know that the system is not a perfect system, and they're not going to be held to answer for a long time, or they will get lesser sentences. So that's been a little bit of a challenge. I know working with the sheriff over the last couple years, that in the sheriff's facility, I mean, it's the county mental health is in the jails. So I know he would like to help people get mental health treatment they need in the jail. But the problem is we're not seeing people be held long enough to get the treatment, because they get in and it's like, oh, we got to, let's adjudicate this or quickly or give them a bail or whatever. And then a lot of times they don't come back on their next appearance date. So it's a cycle that's challenging for all of us, and we're hopeful that it changes someday. But I would say I wouldn't put a lot of money on it.
So really quickly, I wanted to ask you, what can we do to support you? So we have here a lot of our businesses here in Orange, many citizens here in Orange. How can we support you in the department?
Yeah, I think the support we get is incredible. The fact that when we reach out or when we need something, everybody knows Sergeant McMullen. I can tell you about him in a second. He's not here today. Everybody knows Sergeant McMullen. We're reaching out more than ever. Our community outreach has grown incredibly in the last year because I want us to be connected to the community, to community groups. We'll go to every neighborhood watch meeting. We just led a neighborhood watch meeting at her house. I can't remember your name. Sorry. Brandy's house. We'll go anywhere. We did 14 neighborhood watch meetings last year. I want to do 40 neighborhood watch meetings next year. My staff will be like, wait, don't say this. But so as far as the support from all of you and from the business community, I think we're getting awesome support. So I don't know what else there is. And I think it's the fact that we've spent the time and energy, and one of my values for our department is care, true care about the community that we serve. So us getting out there and being more involved in the community and community groups, whether it's business groups, nonprofits, whatever the case may be, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, all of it. We want to be involved in everything. And the community has let us in. So they've let us do that. A lot of cities will be a little standoffish on, because we've always been law enforcement, right? We're public safety. That's how I say it. Law enforcement has really translated from the old days where we just went out and arrested people all the time to public safety. Our job is to make everybody feel comfortable, especially living, working, playing in the city of Orange. So, I would say that what we get from the chamber, what we get from the community foundation, all the other groups that are in the city, from Don Wagner's office, and Congresswoman Kim and Brandon came over and took a tour of the police station. I don't know there's ever been a congressperson in our police station until a couple months ago. And that's because probably because of Brendan's, relationship that we've developed with him, starting from being an Orange resident, a member, or joining the Citizens Academy, and then I've been able to, put all these relationships together and make it really beneficial. So I'd say just, I don't know what else there is to do. I feel like we're on a really, really good path for support, and I appreciate the support we get in our city is amazing. There's a lot of a lot of chiefs who will tell me, like, you did what? Or you're going to what? And I'm like, yeah, this is what we do. And they're like, oh yeah, we would never be able to do that. And I truly believe it comes down to building relationships. I mean, I could sit here all day. I don't have all day, but if I had all day, I'd sit here and answer questions until the last person left. I mean, that's just the kind of person I am. Mm-hmm. And I want everybody to feel comfortable with your police department. We're here for you. And so that's kind of how I operate. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
We have, I mentioned CARE. Sorry, Berkenda. I'm taking over the interview.
No, he's good.
It's what chiefs do. I talked about CARE. I don't know if I mentioned this last time because I spoke pretty soon after I became chief. Mm-hmm. I have 3 core values for our police department: trust, care, and commitment. Very simple. You can pick not millions, but you can pick tons of values, tons of goals, visions, all that stuff. But I went 3 core values. Trust. I have to be able to trust the people that work for me, and the people in the community have to trust the people that work for me. So all 3 of these things have internal and external importance. Mm-hmm. Care. I have to care about everybody at our department. Everybody has to care about everybody else in the department. And ultimately, every person in our police department has to care about the community, because that's why we're here, right? And then commitment. Same thing, internal and external. Everybody's got to be committed to the department and whatever our tasks are, whatever our goals are, whatever our direction is. And then on the outside, everybody has to be committed to the community, because the community is who we serve. So I don't know if I mentioned that last time I was here, but I did want to mention our core values are super important to me. Everybody at the police department knows it. If you ever see a police officer, what are your core values? Ask them. And they report back to me.
Definitely, let's do that. I love assignments. So I have one last question for you. I like to sneak in a fun question. You had mentioned golf before. Do you still get to do at least maybe 1 round of golf or something every week? I think you were doing it weekly before.
Yeah,
do you have time for that still?
I 100% have a golfing problem. So no, I do. I am able to golf. It's kind of my wife and I do like to get away when we can. When I go to conferences, she'll go because it's kind of a little vacation for her. But I golf as much as I can, because golfing for me it's quiet, it's relaxing, and it's the time where I can just be kind of at peace, because we do live in a little bit of a chaotic world, and I live a little bit of a chaotic style. I go. I don't stop. I'm always thinking about something else to do or something else that can help make things better. So yeah, golf is still a priority. Perfect. I got to golf in Monterey last week. Nice. So that was nice. But yeah, it's definitely my little escape.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much for joining us today, Chief Adams. Before I let you go, and I know people probably want to chat with you for a second, I do have a couple of announcements for everybody, so if you'll bear with me. So we have our business networking group that's on the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays. That is still held at Zito's on Tustin Avenue. The next one is April 5th, which is next week. We have the Duke of Orange. If you guys have not seen the commercial, it is like the best commercial. You must go to our YouTube or our Facebook or our Instagram, wherever we have social. Go there, watch that. Is on April 15th. The next installment of Eggs and Issues is going to be moved up 1 week. That's going to be on April 18th. We are hosting Supervisor Don Wagner, and that's going to be at Orange Cafe. We have a mixer on, March 30th at Quoc Viet. That's going to be up it's up that way. It is amazing. You guys must come to this mixer. If you've never had their Vietnamese coffee or anything served by them, you are definitely missing out. So please go to that mixer on the 30th. And then we have our Orange May Parade. That's going to be on May 6th. Well, with that, thank you so much to Mike. He's back there. Mike and the OC team for hosting us today. We so appreciate you guys. For for those of you who don't know, they have my favorite, the Thai milk tea is one of my faves, and so if you haven't tried it, buy a glass before you go. Also, want a special thank you to our Chairman Circle sponsors, our board of directors, our members, our staff, our community. Thank you so much. We will see you next month.
You're welcome. Anytime. Yep, anytime.